Have you ever looked at your dog sleeping and wondered if there's more behind the way he curls up, sprawls out, or presses against you at night? In today's video, we're breaking down the most common dog sleeping positions and uncovering the real meanings behind them. Every pose carries a hidden message about trust, comfort, or even pure love. And when we reach the fourth position, you'll discover a behavior so simple, yet so powerful, it reveals a love that's unshakable. So let's begin not with science alone, but with the moment you've seen countless times your dog curled into a fuzzy bagel. You've probably seen it countless times, your dog tucking his paws neatly under his chest, curling his body tight until his nose nearly touches his tail. To you, it might just look like a cozy ball of fur. But what does this classic donut position really mean? Why does your pup sometimes choose to curl up this way instead of stretching out across the couch? The truth is, this posture carries more than one story. When your dog curls like this, he's protecting his vital organs the way his ancestors did out in the wild. It's nature's way of saying, stay safe, stay warm. That's why you often see it on chilly nights or during the colder months. But here's the fascinating part. Many dogs still choose this position, even when the room is warm and safe. And that's where the deeper layer comes in. Could it be that curling tight is more than survival? Could it be a sign of how your dog balances instinct with comfort in your home? If you've ever noticed your pup sleeping like this after a long, exhausting day, think of it as his way of recharging while still holding on to a sense of security. And for someone like you who sees your dog as more than just a pet, it's a quiet reminder, even in the safety of your home, your dog's heart still carries echoes of the wild. Doesn't it make you wonder how much of his behavior is instinct and how much is trust in you? Now here's something to keep in mind. Just because your dog curls up doesn't mean he's anxious or unhappy. In fact, happy dogs love this position simply because it's snug and comfortable, like a favorite blanket. But notice the contrast. What does it mean when he does the opposite? When he flips over, belly up, paws stretched to the sky. That's a completely different message, one that has everything to do with confidence, trust, and the kind of bond most owners dream of. And that, my friend, is where we're heading next. And then there's the one that makes you laugh every single time, the belly-up sprawl legs sticking out in every possible direction. You walk into the room, and there he is, flat on his back paws, frozen mid-air, looking more like he's auditioning for a comedy show than getting rest. But here's the question. You've probably asked yourself, what does this dog sleeping position really mean? Is it just comfort? Or is there something more behind that vulnerable display? When a dog exposes his belly, he's doing the very thing instinct normally tells him not to. Out in the wild, this is the softest, most defenseless part of the body, and no animal would ever sleep this way if they felt threatened. For your dog to choose this pose, it means one thing above all else: he trusts you completely. He trusts your home, your presence, your care, enough to let go of every guard. Isn't that a remarkable thought? That this goofy pose that makes you chuckle might actually be your dog's most powerful declaration of love? There's also a practical side. Dogs release heat more easily through their belly and paws. On warmer days, when the air feels heavy, your pup might flop on his back simply to cool down. But isn't it interesting that cooling down and showing trust go hand in hand? One is physical comfort, the other emotional safety, and both only happen in a place where he feels secure. Think about it. If your dog regularly sleeps belly up in your living room, what is he saying to you without words? Isn't it his way of declaring, I belong here, and I know you'll keep me safe? And doesn't that make you see this silly sprawl in a new light, not just as a pose, but as a message of confidence that's uniquely yours. Now here's something even more intimate. As open as this belly-up sprawl is, there's another sleeping style that speaks just as strongly, but in a quieter, warmer way. It happens when your dog presses against you or curls back to back, like you're part of his pack. What does that mean for your bond? Let's take a closer look. There's a special kind of warmth you feel when your dog presses his body right up against yours, maybe at the foot of the bed, or curled tightly along your back on the couch. At first, you might think it's just about sharing body heat, but is it really that simple? Why would your dog choose to sleep back to back with you when he could have the whole space to himself? This behavior is one of the clearest reminders that dogs never really leave behind their puppyhood. When they were young, huddling close to their litter mates wasn't just cute, it was survival. It kept them warm, it kept them safe. And even as they grow, that instinct doesn't vanish. When your dog chooses to cuddle against you, he's saying, "You are my pack. You are my safety." Isn't that powerful to be chosen like that silently every single night? For many people, especially those who live alone or who've lost someone dear, this kind of closeness feels like a gift you didn't even know you needed. Have you noticed how much calmer you sleep when your dog is pressed against you? How those small breaths and quiet shifts almost feel like a promise. I'm here, you're not alone. That isn't just habit. It's your dog weaving himself into your sense of home. And here's something to think about. When he chooses to sleep this way with you, it's not just affection, it's trust. He could sprawl, he could curl, he could flop belly up. But instead, he tells you, "We are in this together." Isn't it amazing how love doesn't always come in grand gestures, but sometimes in the gentle weight of a body leaning against yours? But there's another position far different from this quiet closeness that tells a story of energy, joy, and playfulness. It's the one that makes you laugh the moment you see it, because your dog looks like he's flying through the air, even while sound asleep. What does that pose reveal about his heart? And how could it be a sign of pure, youthful love? That's what we'll uncover next. And then there's the pose that never fails to bring a smile. The one where your dog stretches out flat on his belly. Front legs reaching forward, back legs kicked straight behind him like he's flying through the air. People call it the Superman pose, and if you've ever walked into the room to see your pup lying like that, you know exactly why. But here's the real question. What does this dog sleeping position mean beyond the laughs it gives you? Unlike the donut curl or the belly-up sprawl, this isn't a pose for deep, restful sleep. It's a position for quick naps, the kind where your dog wants to rest, but still be ready to jump up in an instant. Doesn't that tell you something about his state of mind? That even when he's resting, part of him is still alert, still eager for what comes next. The Superman pose is most common in younger dogs and puppies because it's easy, flexible, and let's face it, downright playful. But when your older dog takes it too, isn't it like catching a glimpse of the puppy still inside him? Think about it. Your dog doesn't just sleep this way to be comfortable. He does it because it's the perfect blend of rest and readiness, a way of saying, "I'm here, I'm happy, and I'm ready to play the moment you are." Couldn't you call that pure love, the kind that wants nothing more than to share joy with you, for you especially? If life feels quieter these days, watching your dog nap like Superman can be a reminder of something bigger. Isn't it amazing how even in sleep he can bring you laughter, lighten the room, and remind you what companionship really means? That this silly stretch isn't silly at all. It's a living spark of the bond you share. But not every sleeping pose is filled with this carefree energy. Some, like the side sleeping position, reveal something deeper, a sign of complete trust, a relaxation so profound that your dog surrenders himself fully to the space you share. And that quiet message may tell you more than any playful stretch ever could. Let's look at that next. There's something so peaceful about seeing your dog stretched out on his side legs, loose, breathing, steady eyes half closed, as if he has finally let the whole world go. It looks ordinary, doesn't it? Just another nap. But what does this dog sleeping position really tell you about how he feels both about himself and about you? Could it be that this simple stretch says more than any wag or bark ever could? When a dog chooses to sleep on his side, it's a sign of deep relaxation. Unlike the donut, which is about protection, or the Superman, which is about quick recovery, the side sleeping position means your dog feels safe enough to let go completely. Think about that. Lying like this, he's not guarding his belly, he's not keeping his muscles ready to spring up, he's surrendering himself fully to rest. Doesn't that sound like the truest form of trust? For you, especially if you've lived through long nights where sleep never came easily, watching your dog drift into this kind of rest might stir something inside. Have you ever noticed how his breathing slows? How his body softens as if he's telling you, I don't have to worry because you are here. And doesn't it make you wonder if your dog can feel this kind of peace in your presence? What does that say about the bond you've built together? Side sleeping is also linked to affection. Dogs that sleep this way are often the ones who show the most love when awake, leaning into you for scratches, nudging you for attention, or following you room to room. Isn't it interesting how sleep mirrors life, that the way he rests reveals the way he loves? But of course, not every pose carries this sense of ease. There are times when your dog chooses a position that looks more rigid, more alert, almost as if he's ready to spring into action at any moment. Why would a dog hold himself tense, even when he's supposed to be resting? That's the question the next position, the lion pose, might answer. Have you ever noticed your dog lying with his head resting on his front paws, body tense, eyes half open, as if he's somewhere between sleep and guard duty? This is what many call the lion pose. At first glance, it might look calm, almost regal. But what does this dog sleeping position really mean for your companion? And why does it matter if he spends too much time in it? Unlike the side sleeper who melts into the floor, a dog in lion pose is not fully letting go. His muscles are slightly contracted, his breathing quicker, his mind still alert. He's ready to get up at the smallest sound. It's a position of rest without surrender. Doesn't that make you wonder, what is he waiting for? What is he guarding against even here in the safety of your home? Sometimes the answer is simple. After play or a meal, your dog may pause in this pose, dozing lightly before moving into deeper sleep. But if you notice he spends long stretches this way, it could signal something more. Is he restless? Is he uneasy? Could there be a stress you haven't noticed, or even a discomfort in his body, keeping him from sinking into true rest? These are questions worth asking, because dogs don't hide their emotions as well as we think, they just show them in silence. And here's the part that hits home. For many people, especially if you've carried the weight of nights filled with watchfulness yourself, nights when you couldn't relax because you had to stay alert, the lion pose might feel eerily familiar. Isn't it striking that your dog can mirror a kind of vigilance you once knew too well? Seeing him like this isn't just about noticing a sleeping style. It's about recognizing when he's telling you without words, I can't fully let go. But not all sleeping habits are signs of tension. In fact, some of the most touching ones reveal the opposite. A longing for closeness, for comfort, for carrying your presence with him, even while he rests. What does it mean when your dog chooses to sleep on your clothes, breathing in your scent, as if it's the only blanket he needs? Let's look at that next. Have you ever walked into your bedroom and found your dog curled up right on top of your shirt, your jacket, maybe even the pile of laundry you left on the chair? At first you might laugh it off. Dogs do funny things, right? But then you wonder why your clothes. With all the soft spots in the house, what makes him choose the place that still carries your scent? What does this dog sleeping position say about the way he feels toward you? For dogs, smell is more than memory. It's presence. Your clothes hold the strongest trace of you, and when your pup curls up on them, it's his way of keeping you close. Isn't that beautiful? Even when you step out, he clings to the comfort of your scent, like a lifeline that whispers, "You are still here." Have you noticed how he often does this when you've been gone longer than usual? Or on nights when you seem distracted? Could it be his way of telling you, "I miss you, but I know how to find you"? For someone who comes home to a quiet house, who sometimes feels the weight of silence more than they'd like to admit, this simple act can mean everything. Doesn't it feel like he's saying, "You're not alone, and neither am I"? That pile of clothes isn't just fabric to him. It's the bond he refuses to let go of even in sleep. And here's the thing. Some might call it clingy. Others might call it silly. But you know better. You know it's love in one of its purest, most honest forms. Your dog doesn't care if the shirt is clean or worn, if it smells fresh, or carries the sweat of a long day. To him, it's you. And what's stronger than that? But there's another behavior. One you've probably seen before bedtime that's less about love and more about instinct. A ritual passed down from his ancestors, wild and untamed. Why does your dog circle paw, or even dig, before finally lying down? That mystery takes us deeper back to the roots of survival. Let's uncover that next. Have you ever watched your dog turn in circles before lying down, maybe even scratch or dig at the blanket as if he's trying to build a little nest? At first, it looks funny, almost unnecessary. You might even ask yourself, why go through all that effort when the bed is already soft enough? But here's the truth. This isn't just random behavior. What does this ritual tell you about who your dog really is and where he comes from? Long before dogs slept on couches or beds, their ancestors lived in the wild. Circling and digging were survival moves. By trampling grass or scratching dirt, they made a safer, softer spot to rest sometimes, even creating a barrier against the cold. Doesn't it strike you that your dog in the safety of your living room still carries that ancient wisdom in his paws? Isn't it almost humbling to realize that when he spins and scratches, he's acting out thousands of years of instinct? But it's not just instinct. Have you noticed how your dog sometimes circles more when he's restless or when the house feels unfamiliar? Could it be his way of regaining a sense of control, of making the space truly his before he surrenders to sleep? And doesn't that remind you of yourself? How you might straighten the sheets or check the lock one more time before bed just to feel secure. In that moment, you and your dog aren't so different after all. For you, this behavior is a window into something deeper. It shows that even in the comfort of your home, your dog's heart carries a story older than memory, a story of survival, of finding safety, of claiming a place in the world. And isn't that the very thing he's doing with you every day, choosing you as his place of safety? Now, after seeing all these positions from the curled-up donut, to the playful Superman from the side sleeper's trust, to the circling instinct, a bigger question remains. What do they all add up to? What do these unspoken messages mean for the love and loyalty you share? Let's bring it all together in the final reflection. Now that you've seen them all, from the tight donut curl to the fearless belly-up sprawl, from the playful Superman to the ancient circling ritual, you know that every dog sleeping position carries a meaning far beyond what it looks like. Haven't you started to see the pattern? Each pose is more than rest. It's your dog's way of speaking to you without words. And isn't it powerful to realize that love, trust, even worry can all be spoken in silence through the way your dog chooses to sleep? Think back to the times you've caught him pressed against your back at night. Wasn't that his way of saying, "I'm with you, you're my family"? Or the moments he flopped belly up in the middle of the room, legs sticking out so completely vulnerable that you couldn't help but laugh? Isn't it remarkable that behind the comedy, there was something even stronger, a declaration of trust, a bond deeper than instinct? For someone like you who has lived through long days and even longer nights, who sometimes wonders what companionship really means, your dog's sleep may be the truest answer. In his stillness, he tells you you're not alone. In his curl, he shows his need for safety. In his stretch, he reveals his joy. And in every single position, he is choosing you over and over again. Doesn't that change the way you look at him the next time he drifts off by your side? And yet, this isn't just about reading behavior. It's about seeing love in its purest form. Dogs don't complicate things. They don't pretend, they don't play games. They show you their heart in the simplest ways, through a nuzzle, a sigh, or the way they sleep, as if you are the center of their world. Isn't that the kind of love we all hope to hold on to? So, here's my invitation. Tonight, when you see your dog settling down, don't just walk by. Pause, watch. Ask yourself, what is he telling me right now? Because once you learn to see it, you'll never look at his sleep the same way again. If this helped you understand your companion better, stay with us, because there's more to uncover. In the next video, we'll explore what those quiet sighs and subtle breaths in sleep really mean, another hidden language of love that might surprise you. Until then, tell me, how does your dog sleep at night? Share it below, I'd love to know.